All right, good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having yourselves a fantastic start to the AM here. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're all having yourselves a good hump day and are ready for what should hopefully be another fantastic trading day. I feel like I'm a bit of a broken record here, right? Over the last, 2 weeks at this point, right? But the objective here today, or realizing, right, the reality here today is that, yeah, it's been a good run of form, but doesn't mean that the next loss isn't coming, right? Doesn't mean that, we're this like Mr. Unlimited, can never take a losing trade here ever again, and really need to focus on basically detaching my ego away from my trading. What does that mean to me, right? Means being humble enough to understand that, hey, there's going to be opportunities where the market doesn't want to behave like the way that I want, right? Yesterday's winning trade took a little bit longer than I would have wanted, even though it ended up being a nice win. And there's going to be circumstances, right, or scenarios where my A plus setup just doesn't behave like an A plus setup. And it isn't personal. It isn't market makers trying to put me on tilt. It isn't Top Step or My Funded Futures trying to set me up to be unsuccessful. It's really none of those things, right? It's just a game of probabilities. And sometimes you get good times, sometimes you get bad times. But if we behave consistently, right, like robotic traders, and we try to behave systematically, then we're going to put ourselves in situations where we're more likely than not and more often than not going to be profitable. And that has been the reality here over the last 13 or 14 trading days, right? It's been a great little winning streak here. And it's about making sure that we continue to focus on the variables that have gotten us there in the first place, right? So the things that have helped make us successful here, right, in the last 2 weeks have been about focusing on our position sizing, right? Waiting for our pullbacks and our entry zones, scaling out, right? As our P&L is increasing. I mean, that's something that I could be doing a little bit better than I am here right now. Did a little bit of a calculation there yesterday and probably left maybe $6,000 or $7,000, right, on the table in the last 2 weeks by not being maybe as aggressive with my profit taking. But then what we have done well here, right, in the last 2 weeks or so, is we haven't overridden the system. So there's a great Jim Simons quote, right? If you don't know Jim Simons, one of the greatest algorithmic, systematic quant traders, right, of all time, founded Renaissance Capital, and is an absolute legend of the game, right? And one of the things that he had in his like Bible for his employees was basically that we never override this system, right? We never think that we can override the system, no matter how irrational it might feel, no matter how bad the losing streak is, how bad the winning streak is, right? We never override the system. So if we're happy with our risk before we take a trade, unless there's something there that tells us we're clearly wrong, like an increasing volume candle, we don't override the system. If there's something, right, that, okay, it's a good candle shape, right, but of that bad volume profile, we don't look for an entry on that trade because we don't override the system. If there's an opportunity to get a pyramid entry and we choose to ignore it, just like yesterday, right, where then it pulls back, okay, we took the entry, we took our chance to go more risk-free, didn't work out the way we wanted, right? Fine, but we take that trade because we don't override the system. The more pressure and emphasis we put on ourselves on a day-to-day basis to basically find answers to every possible variable, the more we struggle, right? So I'm not going to change the definition of my opening range breakout to some different time because it becomes sexier, right? Or because it gives me something XYZ. I do not override the system, right? I'm not going to oversize my positions here and now go $1,500 worth of risk on this trade because I don't override the system. I am that steady hand, right? My objective here is to be consistent in my execution, be consistent in my application, and then be consistent in my reaction to how the market treats me. And the more consistent I can be, the more structure I can put in place, then the more I can make those things feel like muscle memory versus feeling as if like the market is rigged against me, or like the game is fighting, right? So the less emotional attachment I can put onto my positions, onto my trades, onto why I make decisions, the better things are going to go for me, and I'm going to get off of that P&L roller coaster. And then as like a final thing, right? The market doesn't owe me a win. It doesn't owe me a loss. It only owes me the opportunity to sit and watch and play the game. So I am internally grateful, right, that this is what I get to do for a living. This is what brings me joy in my life. And so I'm not going to do anything here on a short-term basis that compromises my ability to play this game with a clear head and a clear heart tomorrow. So fundamentally, right, that means, my favorite phrase in the world, but means controlling the variables I can control. No over leveraging, no taking dumb amounts of risk, no ignoring my position sizing requirements. I need to put myself in situations where I am being a responsible trader. And when I put myself in enough of those scenarios and enough of those situations and compound those positive decisions, then the market has no reason but to reward me over the course of 100 trades, 1,000 trades, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year. And so I am playing for that long-term reward, not for that short-term dopamine hit or release. And I'm certainly not chasing that feeling. And so I would encourage you all to get off of that roller coaster, to trust yourself, to trust your system, to trust your technique, and to build up that level of evidence where it is very obvious that when you behave within an element of control, you are successful. When you give up that element of control, all you do is lose money. So that's the challenge I have set for you all here today. Put yourself in situations where you are the one in control. You are the one who knocks, and things will go a lot better for you, and you'll continue to compound this incredible run of form. So with that being said, happy post-semi-earnings day, right? Bit of a play on words there. But hope you're all ready to have ourselves a successful trading day, and let's get after it. So first things first, what's the count here on ES? Let's start there, and let's have ourselves a fantastic trading day. So good morning, Craig, Suresh, Steven, Brian, Jeremy, Jeff, Salstein, Cordell, Constantine, and Ruben. Hope you're all ready for a big trading day. Good morning, Jack. And let's frickin' crush. Good morning, Jen. Good morning, Joe. So yeah, 2 out of 3 here to the upside, spot on. Lower low, lower high. So we do have some bearish characteristics. And we know that a lot of yesterday's price action, right? Or sorry, this morning's price action, right, is going to be influenced by AMD earnings. So AMD, right, gapping down pretty significantly here on a slightly disappointing earnings beat. And then we've got Microsoft doing really well. Amazon gapping up quite a bit here this morning, right? And then I think I saw Google also gapping up here like a lunatic. So good question, right, to see over which way markets are going to behave, right? Are we going to get a buy the dip scenario and a market rip, right, on our leading names? Or are we going to see things kind of sell off, right, with that BB reversal type scenario and kind of fill those gaps here to the downside? So today, right, I'm going to have a little bit of flexibility here in both directions. Although it is a 2 out of 3 with volume, we're looking for a consistent narrative here on an individual name basis, and then that should create that consistent narrative for us here on a index level. So okay, definitely have a bit more of a bullish bias, right? Require less of a volume standard, right, to play the bull case. And we're going to be looking for a dip buy off of maybe like 58.40. Right? So yesterday's low of day. And then target and move towards 58.90, etc. And then to the downside here, right? This is where I have to have that stricter volume standard, right? So if I'm going to invalidate yesterday's quote-unquote bullish price action, I need to make sure that I'm getting bigger volume than what we saw there yesterday, and I'm getting a consistent story on all of our leading names that we are seeing some selling pressure. So not too much is going to be changing here, right? A high vol rejection off of 5,900, right, continues to be a scenario, and then we're looking for a move starting point here, right, 58.40 and then beyond. And then we kind of map it out, right? We've already mapped out towards 5,800, and if we really flush through there, that next real shelf is like 57.30. Make sense? All right, cool. NQ. So, how do we feel about this here this morning? What's the count? Yeah, probably a slightly better candle shape, probably slightly better price action here pre-market, although it's relative, right? If we're looking at all of our tech names here this morning, right, the Googles, the AMDs of the world, the Microsofts even, well, we're expecting that to give us a more dramatic reaction in NQ versus ES, right? Simply because their market weighting is going to be larger there than it will be on NQ, or sorry, on ES. So we anticipate NQ probably be a little bit more volatile here today. Both a good thing and a bad thing, right? But primarily, love good volatility, right? That's my favorite thing in the world. So we're still looking for that ascending wedge breakout. We kind of made a higher high above that, but couldn't hold above that pattern shape. So that's still really what we're looking for here this morning. A high volume failure at this range. We'll call it a 2,800 rejection, right? So basically a failed breakout. And then pushing down towards like 2,500, etc., certainly is in play. But again, same thing like we just talked about there on ES. This needs to be on bigger vol than yesterday. Okay, and then to the upside here, right? Less of a standard, right? Realistically, I'm not sure if I have too much of a dip scenario I want to do inside yesterday's range, because it's kind of like a mixed bag, right, of us finding dip buyers inside that area or dip sellers, or should I say rip sellers. So I'd still be looking for that deeper pullback, right, like an overreaction flush down towards 2,400 would be sort of the starting point here, and then we're looking for that break up and over. Starting point here would be towards 28, because we're 75 points away from that, give or take, right, or even less, 27 points away from that here, right, based on pre-market highs, so just round up towards that area. And then from there, we can kind of target, we already got 21,000 marked out. So we'll see if we have a path towards all-time highs, but certainly seems like we've got an opportunity for some volatility here today. So let's see if the market rewards us. All right, crude. Didn't quite set up as an inside bar there yesterday, but certainly close. Little fake out, lower low, decreasing volume. I mean, just on previous examples here, when we get that fake out, right? Big sell-off day, fake out. Okay, maybe a bit of a bull day. I'm not seeing too many other examples here. So we want to be a little bit cautious. Maybe there's like a gap fill set up right above $69. Nice. So we are going to call this a 1 out of 3 here. So we do have some flexibility in either direction here fundamentally. And we're looking for basically an ORB breakout towards 69, right? And then gap fill towards 70 and then like 72. A fake out off of 66.50 would also be reasonable. Now we'll say 69, right? 69.50, 70, 70.50, 71, 71.50, and then 72. Hey, good morning, Luke. And then to the downside here, right? Basically getting stuffed at the gap, right? So same spot, that 69 handle, and then break down towards those lows certainly sets us up for some pretty nice bit of PA And we'll see if this thing wants to kind of behave in the right way. But yeah, generally need to see bigger volume than what we saw yesterday. And we'll see if this thing's got some oomph. Awesome. Good morning, Brett. Make sense? All right, fantastic. All right, so Apple here, right? Green candle, decreasing volume gap down. So still a 1 out of 3 here, right? Looks like we're in consolidation mode going into earnings tomorrow. So this is probably telling me, right, sit on my hands, right? Don't need to do anything too aggressive. A 231 breakdown, right? Maybe a 232 breakdown certainly could be interesting, especially if the market wants to flush across the board. But plan here isn't really changing. We seem to be kind of stuck a little bit inside last Tuesday's range or last Wednesday's range, right? So price action objectively just has not moved in a week. Good morning, Sammy. And yeah, no real reason to be hyper aggressive here until something dramatic happens. Okay, Tesla, 2 out of 3 here to the downside without volume. And again, same thing. We're still looking for that resolution outside of Thursday's range, right? So we haven't really seen price action move anywhere interesting in the last, say, 6 days or so. And so anticipating, right, or hoping that I can get some sort of clean reaction. So range is still pretty much the same, right? 273 plus, breakdown here under that 243. Realistically, it's probably an NA here anyway. Just until it gives me a smoother bit of PA. All right, Microsoft had a good earnings there, or it's anticipating, sorry, its earnings here today. And it's a 3 for 3 to the upside. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but sometimes on those tickers, right, where it gives us a big run up going into earnings, right, in the position before. It's like, what are they telling us, right? We'll talk about AMD here in a second, where it kind of gave us that similar pattern, but this seems to be setting up as like a BB reversal type setup here. And I'm going to be NA trading this realistically, right, going into earnings, but certainly seems like it has some opportunities. Good morning, Howell. Good morning, Ben. And yeah, we'll see if this thing has some juice. I mean, it's definitely an interesting spot here. Maybe you have like a double trend line, something like this. But let's see. All right, Amazon earnings on Thursday, gapping up as well, right? So it kind of seems like our non-earning names are gapping up here significantly. AMD, right? Our earning name gapping down here significantly. So we'd like to see some of these narratives sync up and become consistent here this morning. We're at 194.50 to start the day off, right? 3 for 3 here to the upside. Probably the main concern, right, is that the majority of this move has happened with this large gap, right? So big gap up, okay, fine. Makes sense with the volume profile and all that sort of things. But that's, you know, the size of the gap is bigger than yesterday's price action, right? So if the move is happening here overnight, that tends to set up just a chop day, right, or a chop session. So we want to make sure we don't fall for that. So for me, right, it'd be a retest of the trend line. So retest of 192.50, of 191.50, right, sorry, or a breakout right above this next point of contact, which is like 195.30. And then again, right, this big size gap up certainly sets up to be a BB reversal. But I'm going to say in theory, right, because it's a 3 for 3 here to the upside. So I'm generally not interested in fading what looks like a possible start to trending price action. So yes, it could be in play here, especially if you get much bigger volume than what we saw there yesterday. But that's a little bit too presumptuous, I would say in general. So it's in play. We're going to have quote unquote extended PA. But I'm not sure if I'd want to be like aggressively fading this move. Okay, Amazon. Sorry, AMD. Mine's in the gutter. So big breakout candle there yesterday, right? Really impressive volume standard, and then kind of a disappointing earnings report, right? Kind of disappointed on the top line, did fine on the bottom line. But it's a 2 out of 3 here to the upside with volume, right? And we're inside an area where we've recently seen dip buyers defend. So this, for me, right, is a textbook Bollinger Band reversal scenario. And again, right, if it's a huge gap down here after you saw strength there yesterday, you know, is it likely that you're going to get another 13 points of continuation to the downside, right, to hit 140? Probably not, right? You know, I imagine that if you're a bear and you had some puts here this morning, or you were short the stock, you're probably going to be looking for opportunities to close your position, and that sets it up for that possible relief bounce type scenario. So we'll see if that ends up being the reality. If I get a retest, right, of maybe like 160 and then break down, could be good. And yeah, certainly could be interesting. Post earnings, you know, we could anticipate pretty decent volume here today, right? So it would not be a surprise to see big volume show up in either direction here. Good morning, SG. So let's just see where that standard shows up, and we can go from there. All right, NVIDIA. So 1 out of 3 here, right? Gapping down, kind of probably a sympathy gap down with AMD in play here. So you're looking for breakdown under 139, right? Or a breakout here above 142.50. Okay, Meta going into earnings tomorrow, big gap up here. So that's kind of a consistent story. Yeah, it looks like a sympathy sell-off, right? Or sympathy gap down the same way you're getting a big gap down with AMD. So it makes a ton of sense. Well, I don't know. I mean, did SMCI have earnings yesterday? No, right? So it's probably just anticipating a really bad reaction post AMD earnings, right? So AMD is the catalyst here. That's then driving those issues in NVIDIA, whatever. So, okay, yeah, there's that's not a good look going into earnings for sure. So if AMD had bad earnings, they're not getting that kind of drama. People are going to anticipate that SMCI's earnings are going to be crap. Okay, so we're looking for a 603 breakout here. Right, or, right, a trend line retest. And then NA going into earnings, but worth watching. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm not super motivated to the downside here. All right, Netflix continues to consolidate, right? Kind of looks like an inside bar. Sorry, not an inside bar. That was dumb. Bullish engulfing candle, bullish engulfing on volume. I don't know why I didn't see the top wick there. And still looks stuck, right? So we're still inside this pattern. We're still dealing with this consolidation. So we want to see that 769 breakout, right? Which is that point of contact on that upper trend line. Or that breakdown now under 747. So we'll see if this can be an airline flush here. But certainly looks like it wants to give us a move, but maybe not here yet today. All right, and then Google. I mean, here's finally a name that's given us a massive gap up post earnings. Good beat, top and bottom line, 15% beats, pretty impressive. Gapping up to 181. 3 for 3 here to the upside. We'll say good earnings. And then we're looking, right? I mean, this is a huge gap up, right? So biggest concern. So the move has happened here overnight. So you'd want to see basically a gap fill, retest, and go. Need to see bears fail first, right? I'm not interested in just chasing this higher when it's already potentially very extended here to the upside. So let's see bears fail, and then you can look for some sort of continuation. And then VIX hanging out 19.95. So definitely, right, a level of volatility here. Talking about this recently. Hasn't given us a ton of follow through here. But now with many of these catalysts out of the way, we could absolutely be setting up, right, for some sort of scenario. And we got some 10 a.m. data again, so maybe we have to wait for that to drop and clear here this a.m. But with all those earnings, right, dropping last night and the sort of size of the gap ups that we have here today, maybe either one of two scenarios happening, right? So this is kind of redundant, but either going to get a nice kind of, consistent narrative, right? Pseudo trend day, whatever you want to call it here this morning, or we're going to get kind of like a grind or grinding bit of price action as kind of our conflicting narratives, right? Those big gap ups and big gap downs kind of meet in the middle. And because we're not getting that huge overreaction, right, on the index level here, relative to say like a Google or an AMD or an SCMI, or SMCI, I don't know, that's a tongue twister, say that 10 times fast. Maybe that just gets the indexes to be a little bit more challenging to trade here this morning. And so we're going to want to make sure that those stories are consistent, right, before we do anything ridiculous. So about 4 minutes here till market open. I'm going to go make myself a quick cup of coffee, spend a few minutes here visualizing a successful trading day, and then we'll jump on here and set things up. Any questions? All right, fantastic. So I'll be back at it in a couple of minutes here, team, and we'll have ourselves a big day then. Be right back. All right, guys, let's have ourselves a fantastic trading day here. See how the market wants to behave and treat us this morning, right? And let's see if those volume profiles can give us a consistent narrative to fall in love with. If they do, we should have ourselves a relatively, hopefully, busy session. If they don't, well, I'll sit on hands, right, and protect this winning streak with kind of all the vigor and gusto that I might have. So let's have ourselves a big day. Looking forward to trading with you all, and let's see how consistent basically these narratives get today and where that momentum shows up, right? If it's a general sell-off day, right, general dump day, cool. We're going to have some flexibility to play that, but we need to make sure we're seeing impressive volume profiles to justify basically saying that there's like a personality change here in the market in general, right? If we look at the last week or so of PA, it just hasn't really moved, right? So it'd be really unfair for us to say that, oh, yesterday was a tremendously bullish trend day there yesterday, right? Or that Friday was a tremendously bearish day, right? So we're looking for consistency to show up, right? We're looking for a nice narrative to kind of become the standard, and it's going to be easier for us to trade here to the upside, but we do have flexibility here today just contextually. And we'll see if, basically markets want to reward those behaviors. Just no dumb trades here today, team, right? Don't do anything that makes you feel regret or pain or anxiety. Be deliberate this morning, and things will work out a lot better than not. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Juan. Okay, so NQ will be close. ES, same thing like yesterday on the 3-man. We're not going to get that increasing volume profile. So challenging for us to be blindly bearish. So maybe we have to wait, just like yesterday, right, for those 5-min time frames. Crude, okay volume, all things considered. Bigger range than what we saw yesterday, right? Biggest range we've seen in a while, actually. So since Friday the 18th. So maybe a little bit optimistic. We could get some action here. But let's see. Again, if we get a bear case scenario, it's got to be bigger volume than what we saw yesterday's open. Not a tremendously challenging standard, but just want to make sure we do get it. Slightly mixed bag here from some names. Semiconductor seems to be dying. Fair, right? Okay, so we do have increasing volume relative to yesterday's candle on NQ. ES, not so much. So NQ in play here, ES not in play. But that means only on the 5-min, right? So probably a little bit more of a selling morning here so far, right, than a buyer's morning. But without really any confirmation yet. Crude decreasing volume on that breakout, so no dice. And again, right, no front running this price action this morning, right? It's got to be perfect or we're not interested. That sounded weird the way I said that. So if we're looking at things, like if we're trying to stack up probabilities, right? ES probably looks a little bit more likely here for reversal because we have less bearish volume, right, to contend with. Whereas NQ, right, probably looks better here for a downside breakdown because we have more indications of trending volume. So that divergence, right, between indexes maybe gives us that expectation, at least early on, that, hey, today could be a little bit choppier than one would hope. And then if that's the case, right, then we want to make sure that we're not putting any pressure on ourselves to really be forceful or aggressive with our decisions. We don't have to rush into any trades here today. We don't need to force anything. We don't need to do anything stupid. We can just compound good decisions and kind of let the P&L take care of itself. So a bad decision, right, would be chasing something just because we've got a good volume open. We got to make sure that we have not only a setup trigger, but then confirmation of that setup trigger. And that hasn't really shown up here yet this AM. So for now, being cautious, being patient, being deliberate, and being specific, right? Those are kind of the adjectives that I want to use to describe my trading here this morning and my trading in general. I hear that, Topher. Okay, VIX creeping up towards 20. I mean, this candle likely not going to be an increasing volume profile, which is fine. No issues there. Probably wouldn't expect it to be. Second candle of the day, pretty rarely increasing volume. So we know we've got time, right? We've got time here. We're at least 5 minutes, right, away from any possible trades. So really, no rush at the moment, team. No rush. And again, I don't care, right, that we now have a setup trigger. We need to get confirmation, right? High volume separation away from this range. If it moves without following my rules, then I can't torture myself thinking I would have made money on that anyway, right? My rules are designed to give me examples of scenarios where I would be profitable. So if that is the truth, right, based on back-tested results and stress-tested results, then the opposite, right, must also be true. So my rules are set up in place to help me avoid losing money. So if I take trades that don't follow my rules, then I'm taking opportunities that are designed to lose me money, right? If a trade is strong, it'll give me more than one chance to enter. It'll give me many opportunities. Again, I don't care if this thing is 587, 586, 580. It's irrelevant to me until I see that increasing volume standard. And then from there, right, we're going to have 80 points of room. And if it doesn't give me a look here on the 5-min, then I can trade this on the 10. If I don't get a look on the 10-min, I can look to trade it on the 15. If I don't get a look here today, I can pat my dog, give him a little belly rub, right, and remind myself that everything is going to be okay. So the reality here is that not every day is going to be a perfect trading opportunity. Not every scenario is going to give you exactly what you're looking for. And so we can't torture ourselves with hypotheticals thinking, oh my gosh, today would have been different. And that isn't really the case. So be patient here, right? No reason to have any FOMO yet, right? No reason to have chased this. We've gotten a setup trigger, right? The high vol, we've gotten the breakout, but not a high vol breakout, right? Now, 3 minutes to go on this candle. We definitely anticipate us getting bigger volume, right, than this candle, right, than that second candle of the day. So we are setting up for that opportunity. And realistically, right, we can target 50 or 2,500. So we've got a 60-point move, right, for us to go after, which is plenty of space. So just don't be a sucker, right? Don't chase price action. Let good trades come to you. If you miss it, you miss it. But we can't torture ourselves for not following our rules. That is a terrible precedent to set for yourself, right? And it's a fundamental way of telling yourself that, hey, I don't care about my process. I only care about my P&L. And when we only care about the P&L, bad things happen, right? Like if we all look in our journals, in my journal, in whatever, right, and how you track your trading, all the examples you have of scenarios where you chased trades, maybe worked once, but that second time, good luck. So we got $1.30 to go here. Let's see how it behaves. Okay, so good volume here, right? Good volume. ES as well, good volume. This has a chance on this 5-min candle, right, to go bigger volume than yesterday's open, which would then create that volume standard that we're looking for, right? So we have a good chance here. 30 seconds to go. Let's see how it behaves. All right, so watching here to the downside, right, on NQ, we're going to be targeting a move towards 500, right? We need to break down through this low and then pull back into 46. So no reason to front run this here yet again. And you have time to set up your order window. If it pulls back and wants to give us that really deep pullback, then okay, we're looking at a 589, which would be pretty scary. And then alternatively, right, maybe we're going to get increasing volume here on the 10. So let's see. The pullback here now is trying to get a bit more challenging, right? So now this is going to be the pullback technique versus the aggressive technique. So setting my stop loss, right? Stop loss 26.15. $615.25. Entry price right at 88 or above. So this would be a one contract play, right? And then let's wait for this correct reaction inside this zone. The other thing to be a little bit concerned about, right? AMD maybe finding a bottom. Amazon, okay, not so bad. Maybe I overvalued that. For sure, but it's still within that previous candle's range. So still an inside bar here, Sammy. I don't see a reversal signal here yet. Okay. So watching here closely. Again, above 88, right, would have to be the entry. 80, call it 90.25. Right, so we're 11 points away from that possible entry. So again, we're being patient here. So watching closely, right? And it'd only be one contract here. It'd only be one contract. If I miss it, I miss it. I don't care, right? Where you're getting the possible reversal, Sammy, is maybe on this 10-min. So that might be the setup, potentially. Still looks mostly bearish. That's definitely worth watching. Slight divergence of setups, right? Still think there's a little bit more of a bearish bias than a bullish bias, but let's see, right? Again, we're going to look and try to define this correct reaction inside our entry zone here. So if it just touches 590, I'm not just going to force it, right? And I'm definitely keeping an eye here on ES on my other screen. And then watching, right, this AMD reaction. Again, it's not great volume on AMD. So I'm not going to overrate it yet. So still mostly looking short. All right, so now we're watching for the correct reaction, right? Elevator down, right? Once we find support, stairs up. So far, it's been more stairs than elevator. And the main reason why I'm less enthusiastic about trading the 10-min here right now is we've got data dropping in 9 minutes. So hard for me to expect I'm going to get a tremendous amount of follow through on a 10-min signal based off of that information. So slightly maybe larger bias towards trading the shorter time frames. Okay, so watching here as it touches 600. A blast through 600 probably kills us, right? So again, still watching. We've pretty much seen like an old school elevator up versus a really strong one. So we want to see elevator down. And then we can look to enter short. At this price, right, this could be a 2-contract play. Better. Okay, now back to 1 contract. Okay, that's a pretty good rejection off of 600. So I'll see if I can find an entry here. Still waiting, still waiting. Deeper pullback I can buy, the happier I will be, right? Okay, back to 1 contract. Okay, that was definitely elevator up. We want to see it get stuffed again here at this 600. And then slow, gentle pullback into that area. It's like that Bart Simpson meme, right? I will not front run price action. I will not front run price action. I will not front run price action. Right? Write that out a million times here. And do not force yourself to take something that you don't want to take. Okay, better reaction. Okay, back to 1 contract. Still watching ES on the side here a little bit. Okay, nope. Okay, did a good job there avoiding price action here. Is this going to be the rejection now? This might be setting up as the fake out. Or alternatively, right, might be get that red to green here. Okay, so no entry, right? No entry. Pretty impressive, honestly, very impressive little rip there. Now I'm going to wait for the 10 a.m. data, right? 6:56. Probably imposed a limiting belief on myself, right, with this 10-min setup. I didn't anticipate for us to get this amount of follow through here. I'm not sure if I'm seeing still that much strength in tech, right? Like it all kind of looks more low than high. It's interesting. 2 minutes to go here, right? So I'm not going to rush this yet. Best case scenario on ES, this finishes as an inside bar. And then you can play that breakout towards 83. And Q, I'm not sure if I want to play a reversal here as aggressively. ES, you've got much better evidence of it being a reversal scenario. Not right now, Sook. Not right now. I would rather ES as the breakout here to the upside versus NQ. Right? Because I'm still seeing pretty much a lot of selling pressure on leading tech names, right? They're all kind of at their lows or near their lows, which makes me a little bit more skeptical about the NQ reversal, right? The internals are telling me a slightly different story. Whereas on ES, it's a little bit easier for me to ignore that because there's less of a market weighting on those tickers. Whereas NQ, I can't help but feel that maybe there's a little bit of a seller or selling pressure that could still show up there and flush it lower, where I don't have as clean of a reversal scenario. All right, so let's watch here on ES 3-min time frame. Might be able to get that look on the 5 as well. Okay, so good reaction here early. So it would have to be the aggressive entry technique. Right, it's already made a higher high. So let's see where this thing finds support. So for now, stop loss would be 58.70. And if that's the case, right, you go pretty big position sizing with that. Right, you could probably buy 5 contracts, right? But let's see where it finds support first. Bounced okay off of that area without it necessarily giving me that elevator yet. That's better. So 58.70 would be the end, or the stop loss price. As is, you're looking at you can go 5 contracts again. Maybe too fast down. Buying time here to make this decision. I'd say I'm a little bit paranoid still of the fake out. I'm not sure if I've seen a very strong oomph yet. A relatively muted algo reaction, which is fine. But I wonder if people are just going to get shaken out here. So waiting just a little bit, being very patient. And I'm looking for that elevator. He's getting stuck here at that 72.50. Like, it stayed there for like 30 seconds, it felt like. Okay, there's elevator. So now let's see a gentle pullback here. And I'd be looking at 3 contracts, right? 3 contracts now. Give me a little tick by tick pullback. All right, guys, I am in average price 58.72.75. 58. So far, so good. Let's see if we can get a bit more oomph here. Come on, separate. Okay, so far so good. So far so good. Let's see a bit more action here. All right, beautiful. $500. Let's see a bit more. Great shape here, team. Great shape. Okay, it's increasing volume. So maybe I have an opportunity to now pyramid into this position. Right? See where it finds support. Again, if I can find support off of like 75-ish, good shape. If not, right, gonna close this and run. Ooh, that's a deeper pullback than I would have wanted. Find support here, big fella. Don't like that. Come on. So no pyramid chance here. No pyramid chance because I can't get my average price to now be below my stop loss. Come on. So 425 here, a little bit more. Come on. You got this, ES. It's like I'm teaching a kid to ride a bike with this price action. I hate when things start to feel stuck. It's the worst feeling. Again, we keep surviving good pullbacks here. At what point does it just die? That's the question. Again, a little bit of deja vu to yesterday, potentially. So, watching close, right? Finger on the trigger. Now, let's see if this thing can give me some oomph. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. A little inside bar doesn't kill me, right? But again, not the ideal reaction. So 450. Just a little bit more. Come on. Again, nice thing about this trade, we're green pretty much right away. But not a ton of separation yet, right? Which is creating just that extra level of slight anxiety, right? Because we're not clearly right here. So getting, you know, faked out or whatever could very easily happen. So I just take my base hit, 500 bucks. Let's see if it can break out here and flush through 80. Or pump through 80, I should say. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Yes, I know you want to. Well, all I have going in my head right now is serenity now. Okay, here we go. Sustain this, sustain this. Break out through 80. You could do it. It didn't break out through 80, so I don't need to see it hold yet. But I want to see it hold above previous confirmation high. So 77.50. Serenity now. All right, here we go. Give me that breakout here. Come on. Nice, Jeremy. Fair play. Nice work there. Congratulations, man. Fantastic. Great little bounce back here, dude. I mean, 900 bucks. Ain't anything to complain about here. So let's see if we get that next little breakout here through 80 and push this through to 86. Getting close. And main thing that bothers me a little bit, decreasing volume on that next candle. So let's see if I can get that little flush over, and then I'm going to look to trim or get out entirely. Haven't decided yet. Okay, let's watch this reaction to 80. Come on. I'm very paranoid of getting stuffed at a psychological level. Right? If I'm talking out loud, sharing my demons. That's my biggest concern. Because the move high has been slow. So it makes me feel like the move lower could be quick. Alright, I'm going to close here in a sec, I think. Doesn't feel like the right reaction, right? Hit 80 and got stuffed. Doesn't feel great. So if this thing sets back up, right, I can maybe look for another opportunity. But that didn't feel great. So what was my fill price there? All right, out of that 76. Of course. So now, right, we can reset this opportunity. We need to see a breakout above 80 and then a gentle pullback back into play. So stop loss would be 75. Call it, yeah, 75 on the dot. And we need to see that breakout up and over. Not a bad start to the day here. Just a little bit of paranoia about that reaction, right? Didn't feel perfect, moving too slow, starting to pull back faster than it was moving higher. I'm going to get shaken out of that and just reset. That's fine. So not bad here, right? 500 bucks. Sounds good, Jeremy. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. So again, still need to see a breakout above that 80 and then a gentle pullback into that zone. So we've seen that area act as resistance. We want to see it break out through that area and then start to act as support. Right? Don't really have confirmation of that here yet. So we're going to be cautious, right? Going to be cautious. Again, hate closing my trade as my P&L is decreasing. That makes me feel kind of crappy. So that's something I just continue to focus on here a little bit. Okay, there's that breakout up and over. So now we want to see that gentle pullback into 79.50. This would be 2 contracts, team. This would be 2 contracts. That's cruel. It's just what happens in choppy markets though, Sammy, right? So don't let it influence your behavior here. We're going to trust our system, right? We're going to try to behave consistently. We'll see if we can get an opportunity. If we can't, we can't. Walking away up $500, there's worse things in life, right? Stop. 875.25, right? Come on, give me that entry. I might just missed it filling in the Discord. Come on. So missed my entry there just by a second, I think. Again, hasn't really ripped higher since then, so I haven't missed out on too much. Possible chance again. 2 contract play. This would be. Bounce like what, Sammy? Remember, price action is always going to make you feel your biggest fears. Right? It's incredible at identifying what our flaws are and exploiting them. Yeah, but dude, that's a small pullback. That's less than a 1-hour pullback, right? Is it really that big of a wick? Not really. Okay, so I feel like I probably missed my entry there. It's been getting a pullback here still. Come on, come on. Okay, so watching closely again here. Again, that 80 keeps acting as a good area of support. Can't seem to be watching right as I need to pull the trigger. All right, come on. All right, guys. I am in. Average price 79. And it's 2 contracts. And let's see if this thing's got some legs here. Otherwise, let's take my $100 and run. Come on. You've got this, ES. Don't let me down. I mean, NQ continues to be a rocket ship higher here. So let's see if this thing's got some cooperation. I want to fly like an eagle. Okay, see if it can go here. See if it can go. Make new highs, right? And we're in great shape. Up 175, 200, 225. Ooh, that was a quick pullback. Come on. This candle's got to close above 80. Has to. It's trying to feel like the rejection is happening faster than the move higher. A little bit. So I'm going to give it one last chance here to give me a move. Otherwise, I'm just going to take a small win or a small loss. Give me some separation here. If we can survive those worst case scenarios, generally you're in good shape. But if it's just going to chop around at the worst case scenario, then I'm just going to drain mental capital, right, for $25. Like, that's not worth it. NQ back at the 80 handle. So that is cooperating, right? NQ's holding up. ES is taking her sweet, sweet time. You got this, my lunatic. If you guys don't have a spooky costume here for Halloween yet, you can just dress up as a ES candlestick. Alright, come on. Go, 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 go. Make higher highs here. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Come on, ES. I know you want to. Making me fight. And just fighting with trusting, right? Trusting the plan, trusting yourself, trusting the thesis. Not easy right now. Not easy. Again, decreasing volume here on this candle. Now on an inside bar, that's not as significant. But now back-to-back decreasing volume standards post-entry or post-original thesis. Come on. It's got to hold above 580 here. It's got to close above 80. If it doesn't, I am closing. I do not care. Okay, it did, barely. Come on, go, go, go. Ooh, that feels like crap. Come on, survive, survive, survive. kind of feels this might be my last chance to get out of the country type thing. Again, I keep surviving, but not thriving here. I don't know why that is. Nice work, Juan. Hey, green is green, Mike. Green is green. Nice work, Tim. Hey, 240 bucks, man. That's a good day. That's a good day. You can scale that up, no problem. So I'm still fighting this. Still fighting. It doesn't want to die on me, but doesn't want to fly on me. In NQ, she's the lunatic that won't stop moving. So that's the thing that's giving me just a little bit of hope here. But at some point, I'm going to be sick and tired of just seeing $75 plus 75 minus 75 plus 75 minus 75. Like, geez, looks like my poker account. Poker Stars. I play Poker Stars. Come on, keep pushing here. Keep pushing. Real money. Oh yeah, you Americans can't get it, right? Alright, keep focusing here, Michael. Come on, come on, come on. At some point, might just have to admit that the timing is not going to cooperate here. It's 10:34. Come on. So worried of this thing moving down quickly. Just because it's been climbing so slowly higher, right? Yeah, fair enough, Jeff. I'm thinking about just taking this 200 bucks. Does feel like if it breaks out, it's going to move fast. Maybe could close on that pop. But again, every like point and a half, it just gets so sticky. Well, I don't know what that question means. Purna Chandra, I'm not sure what you mean by that. How is it designed? I'm not sure what that means. Nice work, Dawn. Yeah, it doesn't want to give me oomph. I need the boom, right? It's not giving me the boom. Again, keep surviving worst case scenarios, but then not getting a best case scenario after that, right? So this is testing my patience. 250, 325, come on. Break out, you lunatic. Break out. Come on, come on, come on, come on. We're so close. Double chunk chocolate cookie. Sorry. Just need the Rizzler to save this position for me. All right, I've closed. Just got stuck, right? We have not moved here. Look at this 3-minute candle, right? Like, just not moving. So, screw it. Just take the little win. Honestly, my biggest fear, and I was starting to get a little bit paranoid about it, was that it's just going to flush on me. And I kept getting this vibe as if I'm on the last train out of Germany. So if I miss this train, I'm screwed. Again, of course, now it's going to go 82 and beyond, but just doesn't feel strong. Who cares, right? Hasn't really done anything crazy here yet. Again, if it breaks out on volume, right, through this 90 area, right, or separates away from this 80 even on volume, we can do it, but I don't think I've missed out on anything here. I mean, all things considered, not a bad little start to the day. $760, right? I've done worse in life. So again, just finding those base hits, yeah, like this would be max frustration now. So I have no issues. At this point, right, maybe starting to want to play a possible reversal. If I could find one. But yeah, I don't think I've missed out on anything here. Yeah, at this point, Don, it's feeling not like a strong bullish reaction. I'm not going to tell you to close your position. But if I'm trying to be objective here, right, and saying, hey, has price action moved the way that I've wanted in the last 30 minutes? I would say price action has moved in the most frustrating way possible. And at that point, right, I'm probably either, like, if it hasn't moved in my direction by now or given me the follow through I've wanted to my max target by now, getting it after 30 minutes of stickiness, it would be like a different thesis to give me that oomph, right? So, for myself personally, I would rather get off the roller coaster. Right? And just keep building up that win streak, right? Just keep compounding those small green days. I mean, 760 bucks ain't anything to complain about, right? By any means. Yeah, fair play, Don. I mean, it's good management, right? All things considered, you're de-risking as your P&L is increasing, so I don't have any complaints about that. But it's just been stuck, right? It's been stuck for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now 6 candles. Like, if it gives us an aggressive breakout, okay, we can look to maybe play that scenario here again. But if something's going to be stuck, then right? Like, I don't know if I need to do anything super aggressive. So again, I don't think I've missed out on anything here. Just the stress of 1 or 2 right days. So again, $760, not the world's biggest day by any means. But we're just stacking them up, right? We're just stacking them up. If I get 700 bucks a day per account, like, it's $1 million pace, right? Nearly, just a little bit under. So yeah, at this point, right, my bias is probably more towards playing a rejection than a continuation of this move. Then the other fear, right, is look at how stuck our tech names are. So if the vast majority of them aren't moving, then it's kind of hard to think that the indexes are going to move, right, when everything else looks kind of cracked. Yeah, we get really numb to how big the numbers actually are, Antonin. 100%. And for whatever reason, the market wants to make us feel as if we don't make $10,000 a day that we're losers. And that's really not the reality, right? So I don't think I've done anything dumb here. I don't think I've done anything silly. I think I'd be losing my mind here internally, hearing all sorts of negative thoughts and emotions, now being down right after being up a point, up 2 points, right? And just seeing that bleed away. So kind of just looks like the market's cracking its back. Maybe we get like a mean reversion set up or something, but in general, we're not getting enough cooperation, I think, from an index level to sustain much follow through in either direction. So even a downside trade here, right, probably gets stuck too. Maybe has a little bit more potential, but I wouldn't expect by much. So no outlier volume. Yeah, I don't see myself placing too many more trades here, team, if any. Yeah, one, and you've seen plenty of those trades. So yes, we absolutely do, but we just need volume profiles, right, to show up and be there for us for when we get that. It's pretty rare for us to get an increasing volume second candle of the day. We could have on the third candle, like today, right? We were looking for a breakdown setup here on NQ at 940. So yes, absolutely. It just requires a lot of things to go right from a volume perspective to be able to get those opportunities. So yeah, I feel really good about that decision. Oh my gosh, I would have been so frustrated getting stopped out here. Yeah, that feels good. Nice work, Nicholas. I think most people use the TradingView paper trading simulator because when you do your evaluations through prop firms, you can use the same execution platform. so you can kind of learn how it works while also paper trading. That would also generally be my recommendation as well. And all things considered, like a $760 day is not a small day, right? That is more than the average American or Canadian makes in a day at their day job. And that's like a $15,000 a month pace, right? So these small wins will stack up pretty aggressively, and we can't ignore their power. Nice work, Kenneth. Starting to maybe want to play a rejection here on NQ. There's a little bit of that in me here. I don't think I will, because objectively I felt my mental capital to be pretty drained from that last trade. So any decision there would be based more on optimizing P&L versus just trading textbook. So I'll set it out. I can very easily talk myself out of that. So it's Wednesday, right? Generally Wednesdays we do like group Q&A days. Anything that I maybe haven't touched on this week, anything you guys want me to go over, happy to break any of that stuff down here. Nice work, D-Wayne. Eight in a row, man. That's fantastic. You should be thrilled. I got like a 1.5 R on the day, right? So not exactly tremendous. DTR guests, how are you finding things this week? 3 days, three green days here so far. Not anything to complain about. Very similar to yesterday. Whoops. Nice, Steven. Glad to hear. I mean, that consistency compounds more than anything else, right? So, I've said this before, but a consistent, repeatable process is what ultimately creates those home runs. So if we focus on our swing, we focus on our technique, we make sure that all those variables are working the way that we want, then we'll catch, right, those big moves. Right now, we're dealing with a choppy, challenging market where a lot of the move is happening overnight. And maybe that's just how it's going to be going into the election. And so no point like overvaluing or overestimating our ability to maximize P&L in those opportunities. Any other questions here, team? Any other questions? Any questions here, team? Any questions? Sounds good, Kenneth. Enjoy your day, man. Yeah, no worries, D-Wayne. Congrats on the win streak, man. Keep stacking them up. That's awesome work. And absolutely, Don, right? We can always control the quality of our process. If we control the quality of our process, the results will take care of themselves. Today, good example of that here, right? Not miss on anything. Market is very stuck. Right? And stuck because our leading names are stuck, right? AMD, big sell-off after 15 minutes and then not moved. AMD, right? Not moved all day. Okay, Nvidia a little bit, but then not moved in the last 50 minutes. Meta, not really moved. Like, imagine day trading this to the upside here. Like, oh my gosh, I'd be more of an alien than Zuckerberg. Right? So there's very few examples of names that are giving us follow through. So just stacking them up, right? Not forcing price action, not forcing trades, taking what's given in front of me. And just not building any bad habits either, right? That for me is just as important. Sounds good, Jeff. Enjoy your day, man. Enjoy your day. All right, guys, final call for questions here. Final call for questions. All right, team. Final call here. Final call. All right, team. Well, if no further questions, I'm going to kill the stream here for the day. Same deal like always, right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. But it's been a great trading day here, right? We controlled our rules. We focused on our risk management. We didn't over risk. We didn't oversize. We put ourselves in situations where although our mental capital got tested, it didn't get drained. We finished green, made more than the average person, right, makes in a day. We put ourselves in a situation where tomorrow, right, we come back fresh, recharged, ready to go, and look to keep building up this win streak, right? So it's been an awesome 14 trading days here. It's turning into some really good money, and we'll see if we can keep kind of stacking them up, right, and building out some pretty impressive results. So congratulations to everybody here, right? No matter how big the green day is, no matter, you know, how that makes you feel, we should be proud of ourselves for following our rules, for trusting our process, right? For kind of stopping ourselves out from being emotionally attached from our positions, and for just putting ourselves in situations where it's easy to be green. We behave like this on a day-to-day basis, we will be just fine. When we get emotionally attached to the P&L variance, we are screwed. And that's how it goes, right? So well done here, team. Be back at it again here tomorrow. Hopefully we get a little bit more clarity, post some more earnings, and we'll see how the markets want to behave here in the next couple days. But well done, team, here. We're navigating this chop with exceptional precision, and let's see if we can get ourselves a reward for that discipline here going forward. So back at it again here tomorrow. Looking forward to catching up with all of you then, and we'll talk soon. Peace.